So let's deconstruct how one of these Matten filters works. Here are some that I haven't quite finished. You can do them completely differently if you like. Most people find they work better if there's a restriction, and also I'm using 20mm air stones in these, so they needed the bigger 20mm pipe to fit in the bottom anyway. So they're being constricted from 20 to 15mm and then down to 12.5 for this outlet here. As a breakdown of the parts, there's this 20mm pipe which I've drilled some holes in, which just basically helps the water to be drawn in. It helps you adjust the flow rate. There's my 20 to 15mm reducer, 15mm pipe, all PVC, and I use these. You can use something different, just use an elbow if you like. I've had some success with these before, so I really like them. And obviously the screw fitting for that, because I can do any number of things. This black poly tubing, if I wanted to, say, extend it to the front and make a spray bar or something like that, I could do that. But in this case, just assemble them like this, and they sit behind that sponge there. The only thing I need to do now to these remaining two is to drill a hole here. So you want to drill pretty much the same size as your air tubing, then push the air tube through there and connect your air stone. You can use whatever air stone you like in this. These are some smaller 12.5 by 25s. But I went out and bought a bulk lot of these, and we'll connect them up and see how it goes. I've drilled the holes in the top of these ready now for the air line. Another reason I like these ones with the smaller dome top, they're just a lot easier to drill into. They were no problem at all to hold the drill in the right position without it wandering off. So just another reason why I like this sort personally. This one's been running successfully for the last 12 hours or so. As you can see, I've got a chunk of frame in here that's got a big chunk out of it. That's because that's the stuff I use for my Matten filters. This is the foam though that I've cut down to size, and I will get another sheet of this because it is a lot finer. I don't want it too coarse, otherwise fry could potentially swim through it and baby shrimp and stuff like that. Just keep that in mind. The size of your pour will have to be appropriate to the size of the fry going in the tank. So I will replace this green stuff later. For now it's just in there for a demo. So you do want it to be a fairly tight fit. I drill it about a 0.5mm undersize and then kind of fold the tube over in half to push it through. And you'll see it's fairly tight tolerance and no air leaks out of there, which is the main thing. If it does, you can use a little bit of silicone, but I prefer to get it in place first, and then you can adjust it up and down to get your best flow rate. Now I've got the air stone attached, and we're ready to pull that back up inside there. We probably want it just above where these holes are being drilled. You'll find that's where it's most efficient, but my light's just turned off. Do play with the height and you'll work out the best flow for your situation. And here's why I love it. At the cost of only the space of one airline each and that piece of sponge, you effectively have tank filtration that you can grow plants and mosses and stuff like that on. It'll look amazing. A lot of shrimp people do this. You got surface agitation. It's like an all-in-one. So I'm going to be moving to this kind of system. Any of my ground level tanks where I can't connect them to a sump. Very compact, looks awesome. That is a Matten filter, and I'm going to be running more of them very soon. I'll replace this piece, it's got a chunk taken out of it. That's just to show you how it could look. I reckon it looks really awesome. I went out and I got some river gravel from my local landscaping place. It's pretty dirty stuff, but I gave it a good wash and did some water changes, and put some good bacteria in here to kick things off, even though I've had it cycling for probably a week already. Alright, and my Medaka, or platinum rice fish, platinum white, they have acclimated now for about half an hour. They get to go free. Enjoy your new home. I'm probably going to get another 10 of these. There's 11 there. They're just chilling. Oh, I better turn on the Matten filter again. So Medaka don't really like a high flow tank, and that's part of the reason why I've gone for the Matten style filter, because it kind of just agitates the surface, and down below where they are you can see it just kind of chilling out. That's what I want. So this is a really good setup for Medaka or shrimp. And I may well plant some more guppy grass in there, although it probably won't take long for that to grow, especially once I get a few more Medaka, because they do make a little bit of waste. And that waste will be taken up very quickly by this guppy grass. It's probably only about 3 to 4 inches tall, so 75 to 100 millimeters tall at the moment. So these are the sporting mops I made before. These are made out of pool noodle and kitchen scourer. Tutorial I've already put on my TikTok, but I'll redo it and I'll put it up here on YouTube as well. At this point, my ram colony had spent quite a while in with the bronze quarries, and it was time to get them moved out of that tank. I set up this one with a ton of Indian almond leaves to drop the water pH and to get some tannins going, which is apparently what they love. I caught all 4 of them, and it was into the tank for them. After a slight acclimation, they were ready to go. My hope is to just keep feeding this tank in the future and hope that they breed. I've definitely got some males and females here, so time will tell, and hopefully we'll see some small fry swimming around soon. I'm just going to go hands off on this one. This is a bit of an update on how things are going. As you see, my Medaka are doing quite well in here, and in the divider here you'll see I've got my Kohaku koi swordtails in there, and the wild swordtails that I caught. They're in with a bunch of guppy grass, and my hope is that when the fry are born, they're a live bearer, these swordtails, so their babies will swim around and hopefully hide in here long enough to survive and grow up big enough that the parents can't eat them. And this tank here is now my ram tank, so I've got some German blue rams in here. I don't know if you can see any of them. So I'm using this with all of these Indian almond leaves to drop the pH and to put tannins into the water. That's why it looks tea coloured compared to the nice clean water here. Now the Matten filters are doing really well, and at the base of all of these Matten filters I've planted Java moss through all the back of that. So my hope is that over time the Java moss will grow up through the Matten filter and cover that and give extra filtration to the system. I've done one top up of the system so far, and I've had this in place for about 2 to 3 weeks now, and it's going really well, and literally all it's using is some lighting and 3 air stones, and that's it. So happy with Matten filters. I highly recommend it. I'm going to be doing a lot more of my tanks with Matten filters from now on. It's probably actually changed the game for me, and you'll see a lot more of that as I start building out more of my fish tanks in the future. But for now, highly recommend Matten filters. I'm going to be setting up some of my shrimp tanks soon as Matten filtered tanks, so that's going to be really exciting. It's so easy, it's cheap, it's just a really good budget option, but it just works so well. So come back soon and we'll be having more updates for the Matten filters. For now, love this setup.